Your Excellency, and Dr. Hunt, thank you for inviting me here to see this incredible exhibition. I really want to read you one poem and to share with you the story of the richest part of this entire exhibition. It's a human being, an actual human being. Not only was these things taken in the Battle of Magdala, but a young boy was taken as well. The story was written about who he was, and the story was written about him going to college and being an angry child. He was stolen, like these goods, from his mother, his father, his grandmother, his entire family, brought here to England. And Captain Speedy, who you'll see in the picture with the boy there, and you'll never see him smiling in any of his pictures. But Captain Speedy wrote the story of how he fostered this child. It was utterly untrue. He brought the story back, and he wrote the story for this young boy. And the government paid the young boy, paid Captain Speedy to look after the young boy. They didn't want to, but Queen Victoria was quite instrumental in making sure the boy was looked after. Nobody acknowledged the fact that it had been stolen from his mother and his father and his sisters and his brothers and his aunts and his uncles and everything that he'd ever known. He was sent to the greatest schools in England. This was seen in Victorian terms as being a good thing for this boy. Although he'd been stolen from his mother and his father and his sisters and his brothers and everything that he was ever relative to. He went to the schools, and then at 18 years of age, the government decided that now that he was an adult, they would no longer pay Captain Speedy for looking after this boy who he'd saved from Ethiopia and fostered and put him in a house in the Isle of Wight and then sent him to the Queen to show him to. And the Queen Victoria has a history of wanting to see young boys and princes from other parts of the world. And at 18 years of age, when the government stopped paying the money, Captain Speedy, his love stopped for this boy, his compassion, his story had ended with this boy, and he sent him to the north of England, to Leeds. We have to remember that this isn't long ago. This is 2 grandfathers back. Within the lifespan of 2 grandfathers, I've met some of Alamahiu's family in Ethiopia. And he went to the north of England, to Leeds, and within a year he died of pleurisy at 18 years of age. If you dig further, as myself and Alula Pankhurst, the son of Richard Pankhurst, the son of Sylvia Pankhurst, into this story and look at the actual detail, you'll find that when Captain Speedy found the Emperor Childros lying in the castle, having shot himself in honour of his defeat in this battle, Captain Speedy wrote in a letter, and I've seen that letter from Ayob, who works at the British Museum. I've seen the letter where Captain Speedy says, we mustn't, to Sir Robert Napier, we mustn't let anybody know that he killed himself. That we did it is the tale that we have to tell. That's in writing, in a letter, and that's the first lie. The lie after that, quite possibly, the lie after that was that the prince, he was 7 years of age when he was brought back to England as a living exhibit. Banished his professor. That's the story they tell. He got towards the ship and he said, I don't want my professor with me. And this is the story that people know of Captain Speedy and this young boy. And also the Queen, whose clothes you'll see, died. The boy came on his own, handily, the story being written for him. Captain Speedy slept in this boy's bed, this boy slept with him. What was that relationship? What was that about? The adopted boy, the story told about him that everybody believed must be true. We're saving this child. He died at 18 years of pleurisy. Alula Pankhurst found a letter very recently where this young boy wrote to his grandmother to say he believed he was being poisoned. the point is that this is incredible, and nobody but Dr. Tristram Hunt would have put this exhibition on. I know your expertise in 19th century, and that's got to be a great thing. And these questions about these relationships have to be asked. But remember, of all of the things here, the most powerful thing is a human body. That boy, Prince Alamahu, is buried outside the crypt of Windsor Castle. Died at 18 years of age. Queen Victoria wrote a note about his passing. Of all of the riches here, of all of the beauty here, a living human being, he deserves for his remains to go back to Ethiopia, back to the country of his origin, and back to where he was stolen from. That is my mission, that in my lifetime, that in some way, the compassion of the British and the eagerness of the Ethiopians together will allow those remains to go back to Ethiopia. And yes, conservation, and yes, heritage, and yes, will these goods be looked after? Well, we can all, the British as well as the Ethiopians, make that happen. We can raise those funds to make that happen. That is not, we are as big as our imaginations will allow us to be. The beauty of this. My name is Lemn Sissay. I'm a British Ethiopian who was stolen from his family in Ethiopia and in England, who's had his name changed and who spent most of his adult life searching for his family and found them all. It's a very real story about Alamahu, 2 grandfathers back, and we would be a blessing to look at it. And look at the story that was written. I'll stop now. I will. That is not to cast a shadow of the beauty of what is happening here. It's literally an exhibition. It is something of the past which is being shown, which is opening us to debate, and that's a wonderful thing. In 2015, Magdala wrote an article in the Guardian newspaper about Prince Alamahu. We have to remember that a prince will be married in Windsor and will be walking, his shadow and the shadow of his wife will be walking across that prince that is buried outside that crypt. But Magdala Mengistu, I won't read a poem, I'll finish on what she said. She's a novelist, incredible woman. She wrote, you think of him, in 2015, you think of him, Alamahu, Prince Alamahu, in what is now the Victoria and Albert Museum, wandering a room where the loot from the expedition is displayed. He pauses at the familiar gold crown. He stares at the necklace and anklets worn by the women in his household. Over there, the torn fragments of an illuminated Bible. You see him looking longingly at these mementos from home, now imprisoned behind glass. You see him stoic as he is guided from one vitrine to the other. You see his steps slow and falter as he approaches a beautiful long dress. You imagine that in that instance, he wants to smash his fist through the glass and take back his mother's dress, bury himself in her familiar scent. Instead, he turns to the Queen and demands again to be sent home. I think this exhibition is a wonderful thing. I think what the Victoria and Albert Museum and Dr. Tristram Hunt are doing is a wonderful thing, but it is live.